website.
Now, the time's 18 minutes to 7. New homes are being built without enough storage, according to a new report. And in a material world, that means people don't have enough room for their increasingly many possessions.
But is the problem really that houses are too small these days, or are we just hoarding too much stuff?
Well, Jamie Breese used to present the TV programme Life Laundry, which showed people how to declutter their lives, so he knows a thing or two about it. Morning, Jamie.
Good morning.
How's it getting smaller, or are we just buying too much stuff?
I think it's a bit of both, actually. You know, this research yesterday suggested that we're living in rabbit hutch Britain, and, you know, new builds tend to be small. In fact, we've got the smallest amount of living space in Western Europe, with Denmark being having the most space, surprise, surprise, 4 times more. But also, you know, we are also a nation of hoarders. You know, I've been around the country for many years looking at people's collections and also their hoarding habits, and sometimes it can be quite extreme.
How extreme?
I've seen some absolutely shocking cases, some of which was actually transmitted, some of which we had to leave on the editing floor. But you know,
it sounds a bit gruesome, doesn't it? Really?
Yeah, for sure. You know, we're very, very proud people. We like to collect things and acquire things. It's very much kind of in our nature and our culture. But these days, decluttering is, I think, it's more relevant than ever. You know, we're going to be more streamlined. You know.
Yeah. Can you really teach yourself to be someone who doesn't hoard? I ask this because I did grow up in a house that there was a fair amount of clutter, but my husband is completely anti-clutter, and I try very hard.
Well, that's the other side of the extreme, isn't it? You can be sort of too tidy and too, you know, doing too many clutter busts. I would say once a year for a clutter bust is around about the right sort of thing. You can do little baby steps as well. You can just work on your sock drawer first, but set time constraints. You know, 15 minutes to do your socks or whatever. Also, bringing friends and family over and planning, maybe taking some weekends out.
What do you do with all the stuff that you decide to chuck out, though?
Yeah, well, you can recycle, number one, so it's a very green thing, doing a clutter bust in the first instance. You
can
take
it to charity shop?
Charity shop, no, absolutely, but of course we're living in the credit crunch at the moment, so, you know, why not make some cash to pay those bills as well? Car boot fairs are bigger than ever. Obviously, online auction sites like eBay are a great way to reach a global marketplace. But you've also got to be careful as well. You don't want to let go of items which, I mean, books are the most hoarded items in the UK, followed by watches and records, fun enough, quite antiquated. And you can be careful. You've got to be very careful. Check out what you've got before you take it down your car boot or your local auction house, you know.
I suppose the trick is, as well, don't buy stuff that you don't need.
Classic, don't buy stuff, absolutely. You know, there's this whole thing going on in America at the moment, which we talked about a few weeks ago, which was, you know, the 100 thing challenge. And it's actually really taking head of steam now, partly because of the show and other newspaper coverage. Living with 100 items or less. It's quite a noble thing, quite extreme again.
Isn't it a sign, though, that we do live in more comfortable times? I mean, we are in a recession, people facing hard times, but having, in the long term, though, the fact that we've got so much stuff means that we can have been more able to afford it.
Well, it's a tricky thing to say. I mean, it's very relevant to these times, Bill. You know, we need to be nimble, we need to be more mobile. There's no such thing as a job for life, a home for life in some cases, and worse still, you know, a relationship for life. It's very relevant living a clutter-free life, and I think it's good for the mind and spirit, and also good for the pocket if you're buying less stuff on those retail therapy trips.
Maybe you can come round to our house, because I was noticing yesterday there's a couple of videos, VHSs, have been sitting on top of the piano.
Oh, they need to
for
go, Bill.
a year, at least a year.
Go.
Well, I got rid of the VHS 2 years ago, but the videos are still there. Because you never know, the grandchildren one day, when we might want to see that particular video, you know?
And play it in the VHS that you don't have.
It's that sentimentality, you know, and you shouldn't be guilty about letting go of your clutter.
Yeah.
How many times do you go back and say, oh, I really regretted car booting that or giving that to a friend? Invariably, we don't.
Yeah, car boot sales got to be tricky. You don't come back with more than you take in there.
True. Yeah. Very true.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I worry about your hoarding.
Well, it's not hoarding, it's just sort of not getting rid of stuff.